Thank you so much, Chitra. I'm absolutely honored to be a little small part of whatever way I can influence or at least share my experience in this field of life sciences. I've been in this right from after I left school. I think I was always into science. So I'm not going to talk much about my background. I will recite it as my experiences. And then maybe if you have questions, I don't know if everyone can unmute and talk, but I would encourage a lot of questions. I love interactive sessions. And I already told Chitra that any questions, anytime we can do a follow up session. I am available to answer any kind of doubts that you might have, any kind of dilemma you have at moving forward, with your career choices. And believe me, one small message, it's never too late to make the change. Some people realize their passion a little later on. Some people know it much ahead. I want to do only this. So it's good if you have that clarity. If you don't, I hope this session will give you a little more insights into how you go about choosing what you want to do and how you excel at it. So don't be forced to make a choice. Evaluate your options, and that's just trying to give you a little taste of what is there when you take on science as a career option for you. Okay. So I don't know, Chitra, if everyone can unmute and ask a question. We can do a question answer session at the end of the session, or in the
Yeah.
chat window, you can post your questions if you can. That
Technically,
will
they can
all.
all unmute, but I think they will follow the decorum, and they will keep
Yeah.
their question till the end. And if there is something, they will type it in the chat window. I will be accessing the chat, and I know if there is any urgent need, I will bring it to your notice. Yes, children,
Sure, sure, Chitra.
is
That
it
sounds
okay
good.
to you all? Can you give me a thumbs up? Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see a few
yeah, yeah.
thumbs up.
Good.
Yeah, very good.
Nice.
And please give such interactive, things to make us understand that you are with us. Okay.
Yes, please. So I love actually talking, and for me, one of the biggest challenges, even at the past my prime, I'm almost 20 years into working in the industry. I still love people interaction over online, but yes, we all adapt to different changes and times and all that. And I think there are ways to communicate. Even if you want to, please post in the chat window, as Chitra has already mentioned. I will try and share my screen, and I made a very minimal PPT, not really knowing what are all the. I've just thrown a few options. It is not a hard and fast thing that you have to follow the presentation. It's just a teaser. It's just a teaser. um, um, I
Okay.
already got a question.
So yeah,
That's
not to
nice.
interrupt your flow, Sandhya, I will be
Yes,
reading the
yes.
questions and I will bring them to your notice so that
Sure.
your flow will not be interrupted.
I'll try to keep track of it, and at a relevant point in my presentation, I will try to address that question if possible. If I do forget your question, please remind me. Okay.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
just going to share my screen and see. Can you people see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay. Um, Let me go to. Okay.
Yes, we can see
Title
it.
is, yeah, title is Careers in Life Sciences, What's in Store for You. Okay. So I am specifically looking at more of a life science kind of thing, but I will start off with what do you do in your ninth and tenth. I here let's make a very few basic assumptions that yes, you're already knowing that you have some passion for science. You don't know if it is maths, you don't know if it is science, you don't know if it is life sciences or botany or zoology. There's so many options, right? It might attack you like you're reading science in your ninth and tenth, and you say, hey, I love these subjects. I like only chemistry. I don't like physics. I love biology, but do I really have to do chemistry? All kinds of doubts come to your mind. So we are going specifically into that category of students where here I'm hoping that you're already having the love for science. If not, what are the options if you just like it a little bit, want to try it in 10th, 11th, 12th, and then see what your options are. So why life sciences? If you see life sciences as a field, it's about the study of cells, organisms, plants, animals, anything living, life, the science of life, basically. And therefore, why do you think, why do people choose this as a career? So inherently somewhere there is this passion for science, passion for knowing what is around you. How is it that you're made up of this body? What is your physiology? How does it work? It may be any branch, and life sciences as a field is so vast. It's so vast. So really, as you grow up in your education, you may choose to specialize in a particular field. You may choose botany if you love plants. You may choose zoology, or animal biotechnology, or you may want to turn it into something kind of industrial, where you're actually applying these concepts of living processes to make medicines, or to cure someone, or to create even technology that can help in the healthcare industry. So it's so vast, it's so vast, the field. One, just know that if you have a very inquisitive mindset, you love researching, you love asking questions, you want to know more about how is it this world around me works, whether it's plants, animals, technology, scientific technology, physics, chemistry, molecules, so many things. Wherever your bent of mind is towards that, and really all of the geography, science, politics, all of this doesn't interest you. I am one such, okay, as it is already demonstrated. I just don't even look into that news except for knowing up to date, current affairs. But if the passion for science really excites you, then this field is for you. Okay. Now you might think, oh, is it enough to sustain my life if I just know science and just want to do research all the time? How will I earn my living? That's a very important question. It's not only about passion, it's about how you make that passion work for you. What is the scope for earning if you choose science as a career? So, yes, just a jump between 2000 to now. If you just see, there has been such a monumental increase in the options that life sciences offers, whether here in India or abroad or wherever you might choose to do your research in the developing countries, that so many rapid increase in the biotech jobs. And the current pandemic has proven beyond doubt healthcare and research is where it lies, right? Everything got derailed in the last 2 years. Who came to help? Who was discovering vaccines? Who was making all these medicines to treat the current situation where we thought, Array, we could zip across from here to India to US in like no time? What was it that ultimately everybody stay put, right? It became almost like we were going back in time 100 years. Stay put in your house, no communication. You could only, at least thanks to technology, you could talk to each other, you could see each other, but we were not able to move ahead until we got a vaccine in place. So those kind of jobs, pharmacy, then you need industries that manufacture these vaccines on a large scale. So there is no dearth of jobs in this field, and you can make it a very viable career option for you. Okay. And are you one of those? I just a little on the flip side, I want to prepare you that if you're choosing research, don't always think it's going to be nice and rosy. First shot, I will get everything, I will become successful. Yeah, Edison, I would have to take examples of live scientists there who have failed 9 times out of 10 before that one shot hits, and then suddenly boom, your research is gone, you have papers, you have achieved what you set out to do, the question that you asked. But many a times you have to be prepared for failure, and for that you need a very resilient mindset. You have to be very perseverant and say hard work, no, these things will not pull me down. I am going to ask this question, I can find it out. So that kind of energy and that passion, that's why I said passion for science has to be there. You can't get demoralized. Just it has happened, it is but natural. But like Chitra said earlier, right, your network, your social circle, the scientific community that you're in, the friends that you make, somewhere you find this inspiration to move on. That inspiration surpasses all kinds of failures and makes you want to motivate you to go ahead. Okay. So you have to have that mindset. If you don't, you can develop it. If you just have passion for science but you're not prepared to know what is ahead, I'm telling you upfront, there will be failures, but it's okay. Which field doesn't have failures, right? It's not always you strike the jackpot at the first instance. So you should be able to take on this as a challenge, and that mindset will come when you have the passion. You want to find out what it is. Okay. And then do you have that, hard working perseverance is there in any field that you take, wherever you, whichever field you pursue. You've seen the recent Olympics, sportsmen, whichever field you go, you have to have that ability to pursue. Don't get bogged down by small things. Develop that resilient mindset. And maybe a little teaser towards the end, I'll say, how do you condition your mind body to overcome all these challenges? Many a times you will see that as scientists, that bracket, oh, they are alone, they don't like people, they're stuck in their labs. It's not always true. I love interacting with people. I love taking on challenges. That enjoyment, everything comes together for you. But beyond all of that is that one love for science. Okay, this is where it's going to take me at. So that perseverance is needed. And just the fact that so much of knowledge, you're finding out something that nobody has worked on, that research, that discovery aspect, that you're going to bring, in some way you're contributing to society, what was unknown to so many people. There are many people who don't take to science. I have examples in my own home, my own kids who don't want to do anything with science. But just the fact that sets you apart, right? I have this inquisitive mind, I want to find a solution for this. That your contribution to society is invaluable. Okay, so just a little insight into why life sciences. What is it that is there in store if you choose this as a career? Yes, you can earn money. There will be failures, but there is a good network that you can turn back to, and you can come out of it, and you can make a career. If you don't get the right opportunities right now, at least past when we were there getting into this field versus now current situation, innumerable opportunities. Don't even doubt it if you have that science mindset. Okay. Now, life sciences occupations, what are the different things? Somebody, Chitra was telling me, somebody was asking, what is life sciences? Huh? What are you getting into when you take sciences? Now, as I told you at the beginning of this talk, the field is vast, really vast. So you will come across these common terms. So many people will throw, you can be this, you can be this. And you won't always know these answers in your 11th and 12th. You can choose what you want to if you pick up these streams in your 11th and 12th: maths, physics, biochemistry. I'll come to that in a minute. And really, so even Chitra and other participants, I will actually keep the presentation as a teaser. I can go back to these slides at any point when you're having questions. And this is just to make you understand what are the options there. So when we go to the question and answer session, which I really want the major part of this presentation or this 1 hour to focus on, because of the questions that might come in your mind today or later. So you can always write back to me. I'll leave my email address with Chitra, or you can communicate through Chitra to me, and I can give you those options as well. So what are some of the occupations we are looking at if you chose life sciences as your career option? Okay, or if you chose sciences per se. Biomedical engineering, where you combine, whether you do a basic engineering course, but you're combining it with medical principles, medical sciences, to create equipment or technology that will help you in the healthcare system. You have city, so many of these terms that you go to, you see medical radiology, radio diagnosis. So in fact, if I were to pick up one of this topic also, it can go into 1 hour session. So without getting into that level of complexity today, I just want to leave that what are some of the career options that you could choose. So many people get disheartened that if they do this NEET and JEE, that's it, my options are closed, I didn't get through in this, what am I going to do now? It's not the end of the road. There are so many things that you can make a career out of. And some of these are here, listed here in this slide. But you can choose this, whether you write JEE, whether you write engineering entrances or NEET. And specifically, I will show you how it branches off. If you take NEET, what all you can do. If you take JEE and you don't get through with a good score, what are the options? And in NEET, medicine MBBS is not the only thing. MBBS requires a different level of commitment, I will say. So if you're willing to invest next 10, 12 years of your studying and research, then medicine is for you. And really, you have to have the passion. I want to be a doctor. And at the end of it all, even if you don't get through the medical entrance, it's all is not lost. You can still be associated with the medical field. Biomedical engineering is one where you have to know the in depth of a particular physiology or the body working combined with your engineering principles. Then you can design systems, equipment. You do so many of these things. Intra-invasive surgery today, artificial intelligence is there everywhere. So even if you take computer sciences, I've seen some people come back to life sciences and healthcare. Okay. Genetic counseling, some people who are keen into life sciences, who have chosen genetics as an option, Just a little insight into background. I did my BSc genetics as my major, but at MSc I went moved on into a more broader field, life sciences, animal life sciences, and then went on to do my PhD in biochemistry. I specialized in a very narrow field of oncology research, cancer research. So as you go, things become more clear. The subjects that you study, the options that are open there, you know what you want to do. It will come to you at a later point. I didn't know in my 11th and 12th that I wanted to be a biochemist. I wanted to do cancer research. No, it came to me much later. All I knew was I walked into it and said 11th, 12th. And in fact, I was kind of a little, should I say, stuck out in my family because everybody was into commerce and ICWA and all of those things. I said, no, I want to pursue science. There was nobody in my family who could guide me on what subjects I should take. All I knew, like, I'm going to take BPC. And then eventually you figure out, your interest in the subject provokes you to search, research, find out from your networking. I said networking is very important. I really like that point that Chitra brought out. Somewhere you make these connections, you will get the information. If you want to ask, where there is a will, there is a way. You will find out all these things. So, genetic counseling is that specialized field of genetics where you can actually counsel someone. You know so much in and out about the genetic makeup of an individual. What are the genetic disorders, chromosomal disorders? You can counsel families. Look, you have this kind of precedence looking at your genetic makeup. You might be more at risk for this kind of genetic disorders. Now, everything is a play of DNA and recombinant DNA, stem cell technology, how you're giving alternate treatments is becoming more and more evident without going in for chemical medication, right? Like all your paracetamol, side effects of drugs and all that. All these type of therapies, cell-based therapies become more important. So in that genetic counseling, you can actually counsel someone. These are your inherited conditions. Now, what do you do if you've already married, your children are born with some genetic disorder? How do you give this information ahead of time to healthcare providers? What is their precedence? If you give this kind of medication, how will their body react? Can you alter their genetic makeup? So that genetic counseling and genetic engineering is another branch. Microbiology is very specific to study of microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, algae, fungi, all of these microorganisms. How do you use them for your own benefit? Algae, biotechnology, which kind of organisms give you fuel? You can, nowadays we hear of biofuels, algae, fungi, all of these. How do you generate them to make alternate sources, and how do you make it work for you? We are just growing rapidly everywhere. Viruses, virology study became so important in the past 2 years. You would have seen how we are seeing how viruses mutate, how they cause different kinds of or diseases, precedents, and all that. So microbiologists are having a very, very important microbiological technology is another place where you can actually choose as a career option or as a focused area of research for yourself. Chemical technicians, where you use chemistry, chemical engineering, I would say. I've written chemical technicians here, but if you say chemical engineering as a whole, how do you study chemistry? How do you know, different kinds of fermentation technology? How do you use different kinds of your thermodynamic principles to test chemical products? How do you ensure that the growth, nowadays is biotechnology, you will hear lots, where chemical engineering becomes important because you're actually using this technology of what should I say, cells and your recombinant engineered cells to make medicines for you. So, where you take the basic biology of a cell, how are you engineering that recombinant DNA technology to create a protein of your interest? You're making a medicine of your interest, and protein medicines or protein therapeutics are more important these days. I can come to that, at a later part because it's my area of specialization. I can go on talking about it,
Yeah,
but
at the end, we would like to see, hear some of your real experiences also.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I will give that in the past 20 years of my research on what kind of life sciences research and how is it, where we are today. Just based on my research experience, I can give you that information. And what medicines we are making today currently. How do we go about testing quality control? So all of these branches, my children that I've counseled, or ninth, 12th, my children's friends and everyone, what is it that is in store for you when you take research, by PCM? MPC. It's not the end of the world. When you go into a specialized technique, somewhere we all converge. Somewhere we all come into the same industry, pharmacy, studying specifically about medication or chemical medicines, chemistry for synthesis of various drugs. Then you come to biochemists, biophysicists. Studying the chemical, physical properties of living things is one kind. Chemistry, biochemistry is only studying the biology or the chemistry of the living things.
Uh, Hello, Rohit Nida Sawa.
You have healthcare, cosmetics, food processing companies, so many drug manufacturing companies. Everyone has specialists in life sciences. Now, one more level, if you love writing along with science, you can do medical writing. You can write product dossiers and information. And I will come to that. In my experience, when I talk to you, you can see the vast areas that are open for you. There are some people who have done by BSc also and then gone on to do MBA and then gone to specializing in administration and saying, I want to lead a firm that makes medicines. I want to set up my own entrepreneurial, you have entrepreneurial inclinations, you establish your own company. You've done just because you should know the business side of it, the finance side of it. You learn that, equip yourself with those skills at the end of your scientific, BSc, MSc, and then set up your pharma or biotech. So options are vast. Vice versa is not always true. I always say a little edge that the science students have over the commerce is that you've gone that specialization, you have understood science. It's very easy for you to pick on strategy, administrative skills, and then set up your own firm. Vice versa, somebody who's done commerce can never get back into learning DNA and basic processes in science. So, a healthcare field has numerous opportunities. Don't lock yourself with thinking MBBS is the only way out. Lot of clinical research, you might have done allied courses in, either Ayurvedic, homeopathy, you have medical biotechnology, and then you go into doing clinical trials. What are clinical trials? I will tell you when I come to very maybe 5 minutes talk into what I'm doing in currently or where I'm working in the pharma industry. Okay. So this Chitra, I don't know if you can share this slide deck. Please feel free to do. This is just a teaser to ask, what are all the kind of questions, what are the options in various fields. I'll run through the next 4 or 5 slides very quickly because they are only options.
Yeah, yeah.
But let's spend more time in talking about my experience and then people asking me questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can always come back to this.
Correct.
Children, what I suggest is you please intently follow what ma'am is telling you and note down whatever you want to ask so that we can come back.
Yes, please make a note of your questions. I'll be happy to answer. And it's no hard and fast rule. Chitra told me 5, 5:15, but I'm happy to be sitting here and answering any number of doubts. Okay. So, does biology, I'm just starting off at the basic level, does biology or science interest you? Yes, you want to do only biology and science, then you are taking BPC. You have NEET, you have medical, and then don't lock yourself with only medicine. There are options. I'll come to that. In medical professions, when I write, it is not only MBBS, it is so many things. Ayurvedic, you have so many naturopathy, you have allied health courses, you have homeopathy, you can get into pharmacy, pharmaceutical engineering. Well, if you don't like, no, very strictly, no, maths is my this thing. That is also a branch of science. Non-medical, you chose MPC, no problem. You write JE, you will get into engineering stream. You want to do computers, you can branch off into that direction. Yes, no, maybe I'm still not sure. I love both math and science. Take both. You will have the passion. You will have to work a little bit more harder because you're having core subjects, maths, physics, bio, and chemistry. But your options become that much more open. If you see, you can write JE, you can write NEET, you can choose from a variety. By the time you finish all of those, your options are there. You can choose out of those 10 that are available to you, what is it that really interests you. Okay, so you would go into many of these fields. Engineering, you have electrical, this, that, computer sciences, and medical biotechnology, biochemistry, chemical engineering, pharmacy, and plant biotechnology. So many things open up for you if you have chosen both. Okay, and then so this teaser here, I'm just leaving you what are the options in medical courses, what are the options for you to do ayurvedic, naturopathic, homeopathy. And if you have locked those options, let's say you didn't get a good rank in NEET, don't be disheartened. There are so many options available. You can get into medical field without having to do MBBS and spending the next 10 to 12 years of specialization. Doctors have their own merit. They've given us enough in the last 2 years. No amount of, I mean, any amount of whatever you say thanks to that doctor profession field is less, I would say. They have their specialization, but that's a very specialized area, I would say, where people are very focused. This is what I want to do. You need a great deal of commitment. It's like you have chosen that field, you are 24 by 7 serving society, betterment of mankind. The other options allow you to have a little work life balance where you're not actually writing that Hippocrates oath, no, I am giving my entire life to serving society. And here, yes, veterinary courses, your love for animals, you can do that. There are so many people who do well into becoming a pet, doctor. And agriculture courses, forestry, some people just love plants so much. Agricultural technology these days, lot of the third world countries, developed countries really look for these. How are you enabling? We have seen so many people who have left their IIT careers, come back, NRIs, taken up farming, organic farming. This is what I want to do. I don't know why I didn't realize. These are people who have realized later on in life what their passion is. But if you know that you have that zeal for it, go ahead, choose those options. BSc biology, botany, agricultural sciences, forestry, all of those courses become open for you when you take the AM stream of MSET, I would say, where you have written the medicine part of it. Nursing courses, if you have the ability or the passion for serving, on the nursing side. Medical engineering courses, medical biotechnology is something of late that I'm hearing so much. So how do you use biotechnology principles in medical field, in healthcare field, where you're actually studying a very specific branch of physiology, respiratory biology, circulatory system. You're using engineering principles to get into that level. High throughput robotic arms, artificial intelligence, so many. It's not like you can't get back to medicine if you have lost the opportunity to study MBBS. There are people who have done engineering technology, and get back to serving the healthcare profession. Food technology, we have no doubt of that. How do you improve the quality of foods? What are the kind of preservatives that you should have that are good for your body, at the same time helping prolong the life of your food articles, or anything that you make into that. Pharmacy courses, B Farm, how do you make medicines? What is it that takes for you to set up an industry that makes medicines, whether it is chemical, small generic drugs, paracetamol, aspirin, new drugs for new things. So there also you learn a little bit of human physiology, knowing how long a drug takes, get when you take a tablet, how long does it stay in your system? How is it broken down? Is it going to cause any side effects? All of these you will learn in BFARM. How do you design a drug? How do you do? What should you add to it to prolong? You see the expiry on a tablet, right? Why does it stay so long? What is it that is contributing to its stability and saying this pill? Okay, you look at the expiry date, you throw it out. What does it mean? If you take it, something will happen to your body, or does it mean that if you take it, nothing will happen? Whatever it's supposed to cause, like paracetamol to get rid of your body pain. Why? What will happen if you take an expired drug? Is going to be harmful? Not only will those chemicals cause some side effects, you should be able to tell as a pharmacist, don't take this because this will cause you side effects. Which one is better for you? What kind of formulation goes to make that drug very stable for you and say it is okay for this period of 2 years? If it is stored at 2 to 8 degrees centigrade in your fridge, if it is left lying around, if it's an unopened pack, what will happen? All of these details into drug manufacturing goes into BPharm. And then MPharm is their specialization. So those options are there. Allied health courses, which I told you a little bit earlier in the previous slides, radiology, optometry. So many people, eye wear glasses. How you go to an optometrist? You don't always go to an eye doctor per se. Sometimes you just go for prescription glasses. Optometrist can tell you about your sight alone. he has to study, about the eye, how much power, how do you check the vision of somebody, what are all the problems. He should be able to tell you and diagnose. Later, if you need, you would go to a specialist, you would go to an ophthalmologist if you need surgery or something. But optometry is just basic, how do you get into setting up a lens store or something. You need specialization in every field. Okay? Audiology, speech therapy, occupational therapy, physiotherapy, there are so many courses there. So don't think that if you don't get medicine, it's the end of the world. There are many ways you can do a specialized subject and get back to healthcare field. Okay. And now somebody asked that what do I do if I don't get through NEET or AM stream? Or I've taken BPC, I did not get in medicine. What do I do? Biotechnology, physiotherapy, lot of options are there. So I just gave you detailed info of the courses in the previous slide. Forensic science is something that you must have heard a lot. Criminal forensic science, psychology. How do you give that evidence that somebody was there at the scene of crime? You would have heard this, no? DNA fingerprinting. You just one small sample, even dried blood. People exhume bodies also where it is already buried so many times to prove in a case that so and so person was murdered or so and so is, whatever, those branch of criminal. If you're into reading adventure stories, you'll know what I'm talking about. But so many options are there for you. Okay. Agriculture, more details of what all courses are there in agriculture, rural innovation. Some people want to get back to their roots, go back to their hometown, say I have this farming land, this is what I have, an entrepreneurial mindset, I want to do this agricultural biotechnology, I will ensure that I'm improving the farming livelihoods of people around me. There's so much, and there's so much respect for these professions these days. So don't get upset that, oh, this is my only course. There are enough options. And I was just telling you about forensic science. There are courses that are there specialized in forensic science, which was not there 20, 30 years earlier when we were studying BSc criminology. So many branches and specialization. It only means that if you already clear what you want to do and want to go into the science, then you choose this at your undergraduate level. Otherwise, keep your options open. Do a broad life sciences, biochemistry, chemistry. You can always narrow it down as you go up in your. Okay. But if you have the clarity at 12 that I want to do this, then you pick these kind of courses. Okay, these are all what I have, microbiology, dairy manufacturing. I'm not getting into those details. It's just to give you an insight that there are so many options available for you after 12th. Uh, Basis what you choose. MPC, very specifically, you're getting into engineering streams. BTech you can do. And still after BTech, decide that no, I want to branch off into doing something specific on the allied healthcare side. You would choose medical biotechnology or something. Basic engineering, that is if you have chosen MPC. If you have chosen BPC, you can write NEET. If you didn't get through MBBS, no problem, you have so many other options. Okay, but this is just a teaser or an insight into your journey up to undergraduate and MSc levels. After that, if you have passion for research, there are so many people I know in my field, surgeons who have done MBBS, done a basic bit of their house surgeon residency, chosen their fields and have gone back to research. You see, no, you read Nobel Prize winners and all that. They were not satisfied with just doing medicine and surgery. They wanted to find out answers to specific questions. Why is it that this disease, we haven't found a solution yet? They go back to cancer research, they go back to basic research, and that's where you branch off into doing your doctoral thesis. You pick a specific problem in your mind, you research all the available literature around it, and you go on to do PhD. That is Doctor of Philosophy. Why do they say philosophy? I'll come to that. I have a doctorate in biochemistry. It's not easy. You learn a lot of life lessons. Therefore, they will come up with that question, Doctor of Philosophy. So if you say PhD, the degree is doctorate in philosophy. It's not specifically PhD. In biochemistry, you'll say, yes, while you're doing a biochemistry research problem, you have also got so many life lessons, hundreds of failures. You have grown as a person. You have grown as a person because you know how to talk to so many people. You know how to get answers for your questions. You have researched. You have interacted with people. You have interacted with all kinds of people, angry people who say no, I will not give it to you today. You have to persevere. How do you get that person to say yes to you? You have learned so many life lessons, therefore it is doctorate of philosophy. So so many people had this question, why is it called? I had the question, Why is it called PhD when you are actually studying some other subject? But it's doctorate of philosophy in a particular branch, because while you're investigating that problem, you are growing as a person, you have seen it all round development. So that's why they give you that degree, and it's hard earned. You have to spend and have the patience and perseverance for 5 6 years to follow that problem and discover something that nobody has done before. You're adding a drop in the ocean maybe to that branch of scientific research, but you have added something that is your own contribution. Therefore you get that degree. And after that, how do you make use of it? Some people are still not satisfied. Case in point, I was not happy with just getting a PhD degree. I wanted to do more research. No, this much is not enough for me. I want to do more research. So I chose options. I went on to do cancer research, specific branch of. I had my own mom was diagnosed with cancer. She came out with it, surgery and all that. But that moved me. That motivated me. We all find inspiration in very small things in life. I still get inspired by my kids, the way they ask questions. That's why I love interacting with the present generation. We have so much to still learn from you people. So you pick up these things, and for me that was a motivating factor. Why is it that something that was so basic, and we didn't have 20 30 years back, there were not so many medicines in the field of cancer. We lost so many people to cancer. We are still losing. It is still a dreaded disease that suddenly comes upon you at some day. But contributing to that field of research was important for me, where you had only chemical medications. You would have seen so many people go through chemotherapy, taking medicines, losing their hair, nausea. It's a very traumatic period, and to have that kind of mental stamina, some passion to pull you through that time of you're going through that treatment. My whole thought process was, can we develop something inherent in your body, your own body proteins, that will help you overcome the disease? Can it tackle the disease? So protein therapeutics is a specific branch that I'm currently involved with. I did some research on that, but currently working in an industry that makes these available to the general population as such. I could have chosen to go into more academic research and setting up my own lab and discovering more basic problems in science, versus working in the industry where you're manufacturing these medicines and making it available to a larger patient population. So many of these companies, let's say I was in the US but chose to come back to India, they manufacture medicines there, and they are so hugely expensive. If you've seen stem cell therapy, you've seen all these medicines, protein therapeutics, that will not cause side effect or reaction in your body because they're specifically acting on certain type of cancer cells, but they are hugely expensive. Can the common population afford it? Not in a developing country like India. So it was very important to contribute to that particular section of society. Personally, for me, to be able to make that medicine little less, expensive, by making a copy of those medicines in India and manufacturing here, you are making a generic version available in India. The parent companies in US, they have a patent, let's say, for 5 6 years. You can't market it in our own country. But what if you make a similar version of it available in India? That can be made for, let's say, half the cost. Maybe more of the population can afford it. Therefore, that became important for me. Currently, I'm involved in writing these product technical information and making it available. So we make these product dossiers. I'm in the regulatory part. If you've seen a basic introduction to mine, I'm in the regulations part of it. We work directly with the Ministry of Drug Control in India. We try to get permissions for these and show them how carefully we manufacture this, how much sterile environment we maintain, such that there is no harm to the patient when I'm injecting this particular drug. So, quality control, how do you control the manufacturing of these drugs so that there are no side effects for the patients that are taking them? It's life threatening, right? When you're injecting something into someone versus just taking a paracetamol. Today, you will take it, your body will flush it out maybe in 1 or 2 days. You would have taken antibiotics for common cold, fever and other things. Why do they don't stay? They say no, take it for 5 days, take it for 7 days, because they need that cycle for the bacteria to completely be ridden from your body. And then thereafter you say, until 5 days, 7 days, you don't have any taste in the mouth. Those are the side effects of the antibodies. But a week later you're fine. Your body has flushed out all of these remnant antibodies. It covers you for about a month because your body has gotten into that boost system. It is making its own antibodies and now fighting off whatever latent infection you have. 1 month later, 2 months later, again you are falling sick, again you have to repeat the course of antibiotics. What you took 3 months earlier is still not going to serve you. But those are chemical medications. When you do protein therapeutics and you're injecting the body, IV, intravenous infusion, where you're hospitalized for cancer patients, those kind of medicines, if you see, you need to have a lot more control over how you're manufacturing them. No, any outside, when the way you're manufacturing, there it's problematic if a bacteria or virus were to come into that medication. You're actually infecting the person when you're injecting. So that kind of quality control, how do you ensure every batch that you're manufacturing in your company is having the same quality? You can vouch for it. Today I can close my eyes and say, oh, this medicine, this batch, yeah, no problem, go ahead, take it. How the pharmacist stores it in his company, keeping it at 2 to 8 in a refrigerated condition. Why do we give that patient insert leaflet for everyone to read and the doctor to know that this is how you should administer this drug? That becomes very important. So for me personally, in my journey, being at the bench side was more important for me than doing a basic academic research. There are scientists, I have immense respect and pride for them, who are still following up on basic things. How do these molecular mechanisms work? How do cells interact with each other? What kind of medication to make? But for me, translating that to the people, the pharmacist, to how you're making those medicines available for the population, that was more important. So I chose to get into the industry. That is my personal journey. But many a time in the research, you have to encounter all of these kind of problems. Why did this cell not make this protein today? Tomorrow you're analyzing it, you're manufacturing in the basic lab, you're sitting there. You have set up an experiment. Tomorrow you come, you're anticipating some results based on whatever logic you have given to setting up that experiment. When you don't see results, you're shocked. You're going full mood, happy mood in the morning. Oh, today I'm going to get the result. How do you overcome that setback? Oh no, it means another 1 month of work, another 1 month of growing those cells, setting up the same experiment, but this time with a different question. What I set up last time didn't work. What could have gone wrong? So you will be tweaking, altering. So these kind of inquisitive things come into your head when you're getting into hardcore research. Okay, so I think I've gone a little more depth into how I went into my research background, but it was just to give you an insight into when you take on these subjects, all kind of questions will assault you at 11th and 12th. You need to know, I want to pursue maths, physics, biochem. Yes, maybe one of those subjects you will hate it, but it's okay. You will still have to study it because basic principles will be taught in 11th and 12th. That is very important. And children who have done this in their 11th and 12th, I have immense pride and respect for them. You are geared up to answer a lot of things in life, believe me. Versus, there is no disrespect for somebody who's chosen finance or money or commerce. It's a different kind of question. Who have chosen arts. My own son, he loves music. There is an immense respect for that, but that is clarity that is coming to you already in 8th, 9th. I'm talking about those people who have a scientific bent of mind. Therefore, don't question that. If you have that passion, just follow it blindly. My advice. I think I should have taken a good part of half an hour to give you my background. We will spend the next 30 minutes, if needed, on questions and getting on to specifics. Okay. I'm going to stop the screen share, Chitra, unless you have the presentation. You can circulate to the team if you wish to.
Sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, in a nutshell, children, I think Sandhya has spoken so much with so much of passion, and I hope you all intently listen to her. And about her story, which she told, which she shared in the last part. I just want to reiterate it in a simpler language for you all, and I want to open the ground for you so that you can ask your own questions to her. So what she was telling in the end was her own journey, how she chose her research. She was interested in finding out a cure for one particular kind of cancer. Sandhya, please correct me if I'm wrong. I know I'm trying to just summarize what I understood from what you were just sharing, right? So she has specialized, and she has done doctorate and postdoctorate, that is PhD and postdoc in
Biochemistry and
biochemistry,
cancer biology.
particularly in protein therapy, right? So there are some kind of proteins that the body doesn't make, therefore cancer makes them suffer. And then that particular protein, if that is administered into the body in some way, the treatment can be faster and more more without any side effects. Am I right? Uh, yeah. So she has done research in one such particular protein therapy, and then she is right now in an industry where she's trying to generalize it, or distribute it for more general public. So she's trying to formulate it, make a process for that, and how to administer it and how to manufacture it. Not only manufacture, but also how it has to go through certain regularities, because drug regulation is very, very important. Nobody can just go and prepare something and leave it to the market. So many regulatory norms will be there, and she's making sure that her drug particularly is going through all that process, and how that has to be administered to the patient by the doctor. The end-to-end process she's following up in her current job. Okay, so now children, please maintain some decorum. If you have any question, you can raise your hand and I will allow you to speak. You can of course unmute yourselves. There is no restriction as such. You can put your question in chat. I think some questions are already there, but
Yeah.
I have seen Sandhya answering them through her speech already. When she was giving her what to do if NEET is not there, and how to decide whether you should take BPC or MPC, and what should you do if you are interested in everything and all that. So if those questions still persist, you can please put your mic on and speak to her, and she will answer you.
I do see some questions, but if that person who has posted wants specifically to articulate that, I'll be happy to do. Otherwise, I might generally make it out to be a very generic question, right? What do I do to join the stream of robotic medical engineering?
Yeah.
Now, if you have taken engineering, you can take engineering and then pursue and specialize in doing that. Artificial intelligence, getting a robot to do surgeries. You may not know the depth of surgeries. Or you may become a surgeon and advise somebody in engineering field, I want specifically the robot to do this. No, so there are two ways of looking at it. So that's why I'm saying whoever has posted that question, I can go back and answer your queries. It's if you want specifically something, please ask it now.
So Azim ma'am, that question is from you, I guess. So would you please open your
yes ma'am.
Put your
Like,
video on, and if you can explain it.
Yeah, like children, how they can proceed for education in this field. What are the streams they need to select to select this kind of stream?
Okay, so medical engineering, if you say yes, if you can do even BTech, biotech, BTech medical biotechnology, you can specialize in engineering. So specifically, if you have taken MPC, but you're still wanting to do allied healthcare, you want to serve the medical industry, then your stream options will be different. They will take engineering, biotech, just to understand basic life processes, but you're having engineering principles where you know how to make instruments work. So then they will specialize in artificial intelligence, computer sciences, and then getting the robot to perform a specific kind of. So it is more at a later level that they specialize in that medical engineering per se.
For that, child need to select MBPC in
Uh,
intermediate.
it is better advised, because then they can branch out. Either they become, so I see that stream of robotic medical engineering. Yes, they would want to do. My guess from that question is where robots perform surgeries. You don't want to know how to perform a surgery. You want to make robots perform surgeries. So, a little bit of knowledge of BTech, biotech, or an engineering stream on how to make those instruments work or how to create robots, artificial intelligence, right? And then feed them particular programs. At that point, that person who has done engineering will work with a surgeon or will work with an allied healthcare professional to feed the correct program on how that robot should perform surgeries. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, ma'am.
From basic, knowing that. Yes, he would need to take MPC, get into engineering. If he has taken M by PC, his options, as I said, is still more open, because he can choose either science stream and then get on to later on into medical profession, or he can choose MPC if he has taken only MPC alone, go into engineering and then work specifically on artificial intelligence and robotic
Thank you, ma'am.
engineering.
So, children, anybody want to ask some questions now?
I see Daksha has asked, I'm good at most of my subjects, so how should I choose? How
That's
will you?
Yuva Saket.
Oh, you are.
Daksha is their school name. So for
Okay.
identification, I asked them to log in with their
Okay.
school name.
You were Saket.
Yeah.
You are good. Many people are brilliant until 10th. You will get 97%, and that's the confusion. Many people have. I did excellent in maths, in science, in socials also. What should I do? Am I choosing the wrong thing? These kind of doubts come to you. But like I said, no, sometimes you need to spend and ask. If need be, write also, children. Take a personal diary, write down what are your interests. It may be 5 things, it may be 10 things, but it will help you narrow down your choice and think a little more clearly. If I choose this, what are my options? In that 5 or 6 choices that you make, you will see most often that to do those 5 or 6 choices, your stream becomes narrow. It is either by PC, or if you go and see there, you will know, okay, I have to take sciences if I want to pursue 5 of these 6 interests. Currently, I don't know if I'll do all 5 or 6, but at least broadly, if I take science, I may be able to pursue 1, 2, 3, 4 until I get better clarity. But write it down. What are your interests? And it may be completely diametrically opposite. I'll give you case in point, my own family, where one person, he loves music, my son, and he loves science. So I said, don't be forced to choose. I have to follow music or I have to. You can still follow music as a passion. You continue doing it. If you have the interest in both, you will give your time to both. Believe me, I can give it to you in writing. When you have an interest, you will find a way to pursue both. Subject might get intensive for 2 or 3 months. You might want to do only, you might be focusing on academics, and your hobby might take a back seat. At some point you will make both of them converge. So write down very clearly, this is my choice today. I love these subjects. I'm doing excellently doesn't mean that that is your stream of choice. Sometimes you may not do well, you may want to do science, you might get 70-80%. Don't let it bother you. That marks are nothing, believe me. My sincere advice, don't go by what you get. Our education system is not geared to ask you the right questions, to say, hey, this is your career. It is only a teaser. It tells you you're done well in academics. And we have enough examples, children, enough examples where people have gone 20-30 years into a stream and realized, no, they didn't want to do that. They've come back to following something. So it need not always be written in stone. I do great in 5, I have to follow this. You can choose a broad range, but write down at every stage, every morning. I would say this is where I ask you to develop a little more holistically. Spend some half an hour by yourself. Gaming will always be there. YouTube will always be there. PUBG will be there. Everything will be there. All the time it will be available to you. But these formative years, when you have to take that decision, right? How do you increase your decision making ability? How do you do a little bit more research into where your career should go? At the end of the day, it's important. Everybody has to stand independent, be able to earn a little for yourself based on your own merit. How do you develop these qualities? Just spend about half an hour, very meditative. You don't have to do prayers, puja, meditation, nothing. No. A little bit of discipline, mind body discipline is very important in getting that calmness and clarity. Lot of noise is there. Today's world, there is information overload. And that's why there is more confusion what you want to do. But that becomes all the more important. How do you develop that mind body connection? Little more calm, daily meditative. Just stay alone by yourself. Put on some very light music. Get into a more meditative frame of mind. Ask questions. You may not want to think anything also. Sometimes so much information overload. Don't even bother thinking questions as well. No. Think about the things that make you happy. You will write down one by one. These are the things that make me happy. I would want to know more about these. Even that, no, when you read over a 1 month period, you will know where your interest lies. It helps you see this. It might sound a little absurd, but it's very important to spend that half an hour your own personal diary, writing out what you like, what are the career choices, whom you admire, what are your inspiration sources. All of these questions, they help you make that choice
They may be
a little
different
more
every
narrow.
day. They may
Yeah,
be
yeah.
different every day, but
Every day. It's
still
okay.
important to write it
You
down.
will see a pattern at the end of 1 month, 2 months. You will see a pattern. Something will strike out every day. Something becomes constant. That will help you make your choices.
So does it answer your question, Yuva Saket?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to speak something? Do you want to tell something to Dr. Sandhya?
I have one more doubt.
Yeah, please.
Yes.
While testing our drug, if
Can you
we
put
are
your video on if
testing,
possible, Yuva?
I actually I cannot on my video.
Okay, no problem. Speak a little more louder.
Yeah, I can't hear you clearly, Yuva.
Okay, ma'am. Is it clear now?
Yes, much better. Tell me.
So after making a drug, how will a person know if the drug is working unless until
You
they
test
test
it,
it
no?
on a person?
Yes. So, I'll give you a very brief, maybe 2 minute answer, but it is actually takes me 5, 6 years to get a drug into the market. From the time we think it is going to work for a particular disease or something. So, initial experiments we try on cells that we grow in the lab. Okay, any chemical drug or a protein therapeutic, whichever way, we use it in small doses where we use it on cells that we grow in the lab. Now, these cells are not just any cells, they may be animal cells. I'll give you an example of one of the protein therapeutics I'm working on. It works on a particular type of cancerous cells, B cells we call. I'm don't get into the details of what I'm saying, but they are basically your lymphoma cells, B cells, T cells that cause immune response. Okay, so on a particular type of B cell, it works. Now, our science has advanced so much that you can grow these cells in the lab. Okay, the B cells we grow that, and we test these protein therapeutics at the first stage whether it is working or not working, at what dose it's working. So we have to do a dose response curve where we see that it is going to cause the death of these cells over a period of time. Let's say in 24 hours it is killing so many amount of cells. That way I know what range my dose should be for that drug. Then, once I've done enough characterization, I know how the drug is folded, how long it stays in the body, or how long it is taking to get degraded. Then I test it on small animal population, mice, maybe, rabbits, and what is this profile for that mice. In its lifetime, let's say the mouse lives 2 months, 3 months in the lab. There are enough. So those are preclinical, we call them preclinical stage, where we check the toxicological properties of the drug. Is it causing any side effects? Does the mice show any kind of inflammation in any particular, or the site of injection, what is happening? Is it getting a rash? Is it getting some? From that preclinical stage, we go on to clinical trials. At that preclinical stage, we know how long it resides in the mouse body. When you give this dose, in one day it is getting flushed out, in 120 hours, because we test again, we take the mice blood sample, we check whether the drug is still there in the blood sample or is it going away. So there are specific tests to see how the drug is, we put it on a chromatography and we see where we get the peak and all that. There are ways to test how long the drug is there or it is degrading or broken down. So that test is preclinical stage. At this stage, we go to the drug regulatory body. I was telling you, right? India Drug Regulations, DCGI we call it. We go there and say, look, we have conducted studies in animals. We have fair enough idea how it behaves in this population. There are no known side effects, no toxicological properties. The mice is not dying. Nothing is happening to its organs. We have done an organ biopsy to see everything is fine. Now we want your permission to test it on actual human population who are suffering from this disease. Okay, so first stage there also clinical trials when I was saying. So clinical trials, to get that permission, we go on to lot. It takes at least 3-4 years before we take the drug to even clinical trial stage. to show how long it is taking the body, toxicological properties. Then only we can convince the drug regulatory body. They come to our office also to check, how we are manufacturing. Is it safe to be injected in humans? Because right now we are talking about actual human people where we are going to inject. And the first trial is always phase 1 clinical trial that we do. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So phase 1 trial is where we take a very small population of normal healthy volunteers. We tell them much ahead, we are giving you a drug in your body, it will not cause anything because you're not suffering from a disease, but we just want to see how your body takes it up and conditions it. We have done so much. So informed consent it is called. When we ask a patient or a doctor to do these trials for us, we have to give protocol. Yes, somebody said something.
Yeah, I'm Drishtika Anala from Daksha.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, will the patients
Yes.
voluntarily go and go to the
No,
clinical?
when they come, so we do a trial, Drishtika. What we do in these trials is we get an informed consent. We tell them that we are doing this small survey on a new drug that we are actually planning for this. Let's take the example of COVID vaccine. No, it just didn't get approved like that only. DCGI conducted trials, phase 1, where we gave it even to populate. There were so many people who signed up for the COVID vaccine even without actually getting COVID. It was not COVID patients that we tried. We tried it on normal healthy volunteers who said, yes, we are willing to be an experimental person in this. We want to see what it is, for want of fear. What a lot of people sign up. To answer your question, many volunteers come up and say, I'm okay. So in that patient, and when we give the protocol, we say we are going to assess about 50, 60 patients. When we say that, we have to give a report to DCGI at the end of 50, 60 that this is the profile, how the drug was administered. When we check their bloodstream, it took a day for them maximum. It remained in their bloodstream for, let's say 10 days, 20 days. Protein therapeutics, no, they're a little more long living. So they do sign up. Once we give that phase 1 report, we also have phase 3 where we are actually checking on the diseased population. There, they have no other option. They've given up all options of saying it's almost like at the end of the road for them. They don't have any other treatment options available. They're willing to undergo and say, okay, new drug, give me, let's see. If it works, it's great. So those population we give them, and then you see, monitor their clinical symptoms. Is the tumor size coming down? Are they having any side effects? The B cell population. Then they check all of these on their regular routine visits to the doctor. So always it's a trial between us, the industry, which is the sponsor, the doctor who is administering to a particular patient population. We sign up for several hospitals and say that this drug we are now making available. So that is the way where we go about checking if a drug is working, not working. It starts in the lab on cells that we grew in the lab, then a little small animal population, then on normal healthy volunteers, and finally on patient population. And all of this data we have to put together in this regulatory sciences and show that, look how I've manufactured my drug across these 6-7 years. Will I get marketing approval for it? Can I make it available to public?
So your
Does that
question is
answer the
answered,
question?
Yuva?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody else have any question now? So remember what all we went through today, in the beginning, ma'am told us about what are the options that you can choose, and later at what stage you can choose it, and later about particular research problem that she undertook. And now we also discussed about how the drug can be, taken from one phase to the other. Yeah. So Anita, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just from a teacher's perspective, I want to ask Dr. Sandhya. Dr. Sandhya, when we are just taking a feedback from the children about their aspirations, what they want to become. So mostly the children, by judging by their aptitude for math, they make a choice of science. It's almost like a rebound, they are not confident with math. On a rebound, they say, no, we are going to go into medicine, we want to take up science. So is that the right approach for these children? Maybe you could guide them?
I think it's more a fear of math. What are the options? Will I be able to do well if I take math? Math at 11th and 12th is always good, I would say. You may not want to take it up as a career option, but I have seen a population of students that are very good at math. They're very good at math, but get scared on, I would say, taking it further, one step further, 11th, 12th. My advice would be, don't let fear of marks or percentage deter you from loving the subject. Look at it for what it is. It is about your ability to take a problem and solve it. And that is actually teaching you more of your own ability to work on any problem in life in general. It may be an equation today. Math is complicated. There are enough concepts that need to be understood. Like I said, don't always think that the Indian education system, the way it is currently designed, is actually evaluating your capability. There are good CBSE syllabus is good. I'm saying ICSE, I've seen it all, but don't let it deter you from the love for the subject. Separate the two. Don't think that your excelling ability by percentage or score should determine whether you should go ahead for that or not. Math in general as a problem solving subject, if you take it, it will help you in all your avenues. And that's why I'm saying, if you have the perseverance and hard work or the capability to think through on those lines, please choose M by PC if you can. It still opens up your option. You may not do excellently in math. I'm telling you, your 12th score does not matter. Take it, I'm giving it to you in writing. Work hard, but don't think that that one score is going to determine the future of your life. No. You may not do that good in math. It's okay. Keep your options open. In engineering, if you go for counseling and check basic 55%, 65%, they'll ask, you'll clear it. No problem. If your love for science, you do a basic 55-65%, no problem. But it will help you determine tomorrow on your career choices, keeping it much more wider open. Your ability to choose, then later you decide, okay, if I do engineering, that 10th and that 11th and 12th math would go a great deal in helping you.
So
don't get, it's a fear of the subject more than saying, no, let me do medicine. It's easier to learn biology. It's equally complicated, believe me. Yeah. It's not that it's easy.
No, in fact, when you were talking about your drug thing, Sandhya, even in the curves and the statistics that you collect, right, all that involves math. So
yes,
this 11th
absolutely.
and math will definitely help them in doing that.
Absolutely. Biostats is there. You can eventually get back to science. Don't get deterred by maths is so complicated. What am I going to do? No, I'm failing miserably. No, don't worry about it. Keep your spirits up. It is always there. Some days will be difficult. There is always a way to find solution. These days, children, you have so much avenues to search for solutions. You have so many videos. You have computed answer sheets. It was not like that in our times. We had only one college to go to, one library, and we had to literally try and understand it on your own with whatever books were available. Even so, the avenues that you have, there are always ways of learning. Don't get deterred by, oh, it's complicated, it's not for me. Wrong way to approach the problem. Just keep your mind open at this point is all I would advise you.
You would suggest that they keep their options open by keeping M by PC,
If you have, like somebody said, right, I'm good in many subjects. Keep your options open. M by PC is a good enough unless you say, yes, I know very clearly I want to go for engineering, I don't want to do medicine. Then go choose MPC. Don't kill yourself by taking both the subjects. But if you're in that iffy state, I don't know, maybe I want to do some amount of learn a basic engineering, problem solving and computational science, and then decide whether I want to specialize in an allied healthcare. That way, those people who are in between, right, math, bio, I love both, that kind of, for them I'm saying, keep your options open. M by PC. It will be tougher, a little more hard work, but it opens up your thing, and you have 2 years more to get clarity on where you want it.
Right.
And for those who fear math, also Sandhya is saying that it is not the scores or not the failure in the
Yes.
exam that that should tell you that you should
Strictly
fear
don't
it.
go by your marks, children. Don't go by your marks.
Right.
Because
Ma'am,
problem solving in math translates to problem solving in any field
Yes, any field.
and also in life, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
Your 11th and 12th, you'll be much better prepared at dealing with your undergrad and postgrad.
Yeah. Who wanted to ask something?
Yes, ma'am. So I wanted to ask whether we need to enroll in certain uh, institutions or something in order to pass through MBIPC, because it's generally not easy from self study itself, and there are many other options which people consider, like dummy schools and others. So I'm a bit confused on that aspect as well.
I know where you're coming from. Tamanna, is it?
Yes.
So, for M by PC, I would still advise you see what is the coaching. Ultimately, the way you grasp concepts, the way you prepare, is all your effort, Tamanna. Coaching institute can help, parents can help, friends can help to a certain extent. Ultimately, it's all your brain power, your motivation, your skill set that is carrying you through. So don't discount your own abilities. You can do, yes, the right word that you mentioned there was it is going to be a little bit difficult. What a coaching center will do for you is to give you a structured way of learning. That's all that I see coming from there. Time management. They will drive you to the point where, okay, you are setting aside certain hours of study a day, which may not always come from your own self discipline, right? So they give you a structured way of learning the coursework. They have experience in knowing what kind of questions come, but that you can also get from your so many of these books and questionnaires that you have all in ones and whatnot. But they do give you a structured way and repeated tests, right? So you're revising your subjects over and over again in a very structured manner. It will help you calculate time and manage time for your entrance examinations. So that help, I would say, goes a little bit in when you join a coaching center for particular subjects. You may choose to take it only for one subject, you may choose to take it for physics, math, where you know that your own discipline will not carry you through. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, so can you also talk on the dummy school point, and if not coaching school, can we take like personalized tutors or something?
Yes, why not? The choice of how you prepare should be yours. You should not be pressurized that, okay, all the sheep are going to that herd, let me go there. What works for somebody may not always work for you. So if you feel personalized tutor, you can still maintain this discipline and cover all of that. I know so many people who have done it on their own, Taman. I know so many people who have done it on their own. So dummies code, there are enough that, like I said, the information that you guys have today, personalized tests online, you can do dummy tests, you can do so many things, you can self time yourself. So if you have the capability, please don't think that, oh, only if I joined coaching I would have excelled this, I would have got that. No, it is all your personal drive. If you feel you can do it, have a tutor on the side and say every Saturday Sunday I'll devote to taking for dummy tests and score, check my own scores. Perfectly all right. Especially if you don't like that whole atmosphere of a mass coaching center. I know of some children who don't like, want to go there every evening from 4 to 8, go with the whole study. It doesn't work for some.
So I
Yeah.
see this question from Apurva. She says, if I fail in any field, how do I deal with failure? Yeah, I think you should answer that because
Purva, can you unmute and ask me, fail in any field meaning when? 10th, 11th, 12th?
Ma'am, suppose I apply for GE main and in that field mostly out of 1 lakh people only 1,000 get selected. So what should I do if
Options are many, Apurva. Options are numerous. No, JEE, I personally feel the whole of India, literally, you are seeing thousands and thousands of people writing. Don't take it as the end of the road. There are so many places you can try. There are so many places that give you BS, MS option. integrated undergrad and postgraduate in the same place. There are so many places that give you their own personal state entrance exam. I know so many children who didn't even write JEE. So don't let that deter you. You know, your score was not good. What is destined for you, what you're thought through, you will make it happen in a way. It might sound very in the air at right now, whatever advice I'm giving you, but don't be deterred that thinking I
It is
needed to
really
get
very
this.
specific coming from you, because you were talking about how people fail in research, how you go with a
Oh yes,
particular
you will face
expectation,
many
and
failures.
yeah.
That's why, Apurva, it's important to, I was talking about mind body, right? How strong you develop your personality, how strong you take something as your own personal motivation. Some people like music, some people like walks in nature, some people like cycling, some people like high intensity workouts, whatever it is that touches your heart. Some people like dance, some people like singing, so many things. Pursue that. That creative pursuit of yours is what is going to keep you stronger and unfazed in the middle of all of these challenges that life will throw at you. So find that one personal motivation and keep talking to yourself. This is not the end of the world. JEE main score is not okay going to determine what Apurva is going to do 20 years from now. If something will work out, there are many options. In fact, how do you know that maybe to excel in some other thing, this came as a failure to you? You don't know, right? At that point of time, you might do excellent in some other field, and that happened only because of you had locked this option, or it locked itself for you, saying no, this is not available, you didn't get a good score here. That's when you would have pursued the alternate, and who knows, that was your calling.
Yes,
Yeah. Dipesh, what do you want to ask? Can you put your video on?
Can I skip on turning on the video since I'm not properly dressed?
No problem.
My question was, what do I do when the goal I set for myself does not turn out to be what I'm interested in? As in, since when I was young, I had this goal of becoming a game designer. But when I grew up, I realized that I have interest in studying other people's behavior, which in turn falls under psychology.
Okay.
So do I go ahead and take BPC and become a psychiatrist? Or do I still pursue my goal?
What was your earlier goal, Deepesh? I didn't hear you. When you were growing up, you wanted to
Become a game designer.
game designer, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. You can still pursue. You have interest in psychology.
Yes, sir.
You can design a game, no, that will assess people's behavior. Very simple way, but you don't have to give up one for the other. All I'm trying to say that is you don't leave your childhood dream as well. You have now chosen, you have become a little more mature, you're choosing, you have interest in studying other people's behavior. It doesn't mean you give up your passion for game designing. You will bring it into this profession of yours eventually, if it
There are
speaks
no
to your heart,
boxes,
right? Yeah,
there
there
are
are
no
no boxes,
boundaries.
no boundaries. You will find a way of making it work. You will get so in depth into studying other people's behaviors, and your passion for game designing will come there, that you will create such a game or a questionnaire where you will use it as a tool to assess other people's behaviors. So it's all about
Thank
it
you.
converging at some point, Deepesh. Don't lock yourself. One thing might, like I said, temporarily it might take a setback. You may not be into game designing. Eventually, you will make it work for you.
I understand.
Right?
Yes. So there is a question from Sarah. She wants to know more about pathology.
Oh, okay.
Sarah, can you just talk once and ask what is
Yes,
your
ma'am.
specific question? Yeah.
Ma'am, I want to know more about pathology, ma'am.
Pathology, yes. So pathology, I would say, is more like, disease, study of the disease tissue, or specifically take a section of the tissue that is under question and then go in depth into that. So as you can pursue it as a main branch. If you have taken MBBS, there are pathologists who become specialists in that field, studying a particular diseased organ or how it works. Or you could take an allied health sciences and still work with a medical professional. for that. So you would do a specific technical course in allied health sciences on pathology, pathologists in the lab on who know how to read these tissue cross sections, histopathology, how you would see the tissue cross sections, or pathology as in general from clinical samples. So that's a very brief background of how you could choose that option of pathology, either as a mainstream MBBS specialization if you're keen on medicine, or if you can pursue allied healthcare options and then get into laboratory technical operations where you would do this pathology. Does
Okay,
that answer
ma'am.
your question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can I know more about medical writing also, ma'am?
Medical writing, you don't technically have to be a doctor to do medical writing, but I have come across many people who have done just basic MBBS but know how to read. Like I was telling you, right, we do clinical trials, we do a lot of these research papers on subjects and data analytics, but you need some background in medicine to be able to write these case histories and what it means, from a certain data population, or how you would read these results across that. What do the population demographics suggest? You would have done it in a certain type of ethnic population. Your clinical trials were conducted in Australia, or you were conducted in UK, in Russian population. Then how do you make sense of the whole data? So all of that, how does the drug work, how it has been metabolized in your body, all of these, you would need a specific scientific background to write. So that is specifically medical writing. And there are enough people who employ these people in a science background to write these case histories. They don't have time for that. The doctor will come, diagnose, tell you the results, and go. There are companies, that clinical trial organizations, that make sense of all of these data for a particular disease. Data analytics, you would have heard that word a lot these days. This is making sense of healthcare data. Okay, enough companies spending, and software designing for reading how to understand this data. Epidemiology, you would have seen in COVID, how are these people coming up with these graphs? This is how the disease is progressing, this is how it's coming, what is ours not, are all of these words you would have heard when you read. These are population demographics. So you need a lot of medical writers also to write specifically in that particular field. That is specifically to do with medical writing, either MBBS or science background, in B pharmacy, or you have done specific area. After working for some time in clinical trials, you would also gain that experience to be able to read a case study. They're called clinical study reports. So that is medical writing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah, so Anita is asking, do
Yeah.
generic drugs have the same efficacy as the bigger brands? Can we use them safely?
Yes. So generic drugs also, Anita, have to go through the same regulatory process. They are not given approval if they don't show that same similarity or efficacy in the trials, BAB, or the bioequivalence they have to demonstrate. Even both in clinical trials and in post marketing also, after they are granted approval also, we give them safety efficacy reports to the drug controller body on a periodic basis. Annually we have to give them, show them that we are monitoring the patient population for adverse events. We are so we are duty bound to give that address and a safety reporting in case they come across any severe adverse events. They are supposed to report. We give an email address and a phone number to call. So every kind of adverse reporting as well as safety data that we are supposed to submit on an annual basis to the drug control body, so they have to have the same efficacy. We can safely use them. And by generic drugs here, I'm assuming it's the chemical entities. Like you would go to a pharmacist and they'll say Calpol from so and so company is not available. I have an alternate. Do you want to take it? You would get another brand. It would be named something else. Brand name will be different. But generic drug wise, it is the same paracetamol that is co-formulated. Some brands, give and take a little bit, have better efficacy. For you personally, in your body, one type of brand may work better than another. But overall, they don't get approval if they don't demonstrate that efficacy. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sandhya. You did.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So in this context, I wanted to ask you about the patents that go out of India, Sandhya. What is the percentage and what do you want to say to the young people here?
Patent law, that is very nice field again for people who have not. I have seen a lot of colleagues, at least who work with me, who have a science background, who have done intellectual property rights. It's a small, short-term, specialized in postgraduate, I would say. But patent laws and how you govern a drug patent, that you have developed a particular process, you want some rights over it. Another person cannot use the same technology. Let's say I have co-formulated this, I discovered this on my own, I'm having this patent on it for some period of time, and they will give it to you for a period of time only. That's how the most of the main manufacturers enjoy that, what you say, market share, I would say. For a particular period of time only they can play in the market. Another generic drug cannot come. But once a patent expires, then the other people who are already ready in the drug development process get their ability to enter the market. So when we do also development, drug development, there are certain things that we want to patent about the process. Like I would have developed a specialized formulation, how to co-package my drug with a particular thing, that it resides for, let's say, 2 years at a particular temperature. No compromise on quality, no compromise. And I might patent that specific formulation. So another manufacturer can do the same main drug, but he cannot use the same formulation that I developed. I have a patent on it. He can do it with another formulation, but he has to demonstrate that it is equally efficacious as my drug. I've used a different formulation, no worries. Mine also can stay long for, let's say, 2 years or whatever. So it depends on how I word my patent. When it is co-formulated with my drug, I want this patent to exist for that. So when you file a patent, you have to be very careful about the language, what you're patenting. Yeah, patent renewal laws, I don't know the details, Tanushri, I can find out. But there are some clauses. It is all legal at that point. It's, I would say, legal and regulatory combined together, that field, where you would study these patent laws. It's a short-term course, very valuable. I know many people in science who have pursued this after their basic science undergrad level.
It's a
So,
very well paid also.
Yes, it's very well paid. And it requires a lot of research into the patent. That there's a whole website and plethora of information on that. They can renew, but with some clauses, I think. They can't hold that market share for long, especially when it comes to the interests of public health. Let's say it's a very important drug. Orphan drug gets approval faster, like orphan drug in meaning when no other drug is there, it's a new one for a particular symptom or a case or a disease. They get approval faster. They lose patent also faster, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not really clear, but because you want to open the market for many people, how can one person enjoy that right and say, I will charge you this much for all of that? He has to sustain his business, but the general public also, health should also not suffer. So the government regulatory body keeps all of this in mind when it is granting that patent also, or a renewal for a patent.
So anything else? Any other? Samyukta says something. Dr. Sandhya, through having still confidence, look beyond. Yeah. So we are already at 5:30 now. Yeah.
I didn't know the time go by.
I could see the mother in you speaking, the scientist in you, and the daughter in you, and lot of passion and patience. You answered every question. So let us wait for 1 or 2 more minutes while other children, if they have something, they will put it in the chat or in this thing. But I would want to hear from the audience, some 1 or 2 takeaways, what they have learned, and how it was for them, and what more do they want in this context. So students, please speak out. Just sum up your experiences.
Even if you're not getting questions now, please feel free to ask Chitra and she will ask me in turn. I can always.
Yeah, I think we should give your mail ID also. I will put it in the chat.
Yes. You can put it in the chat.
You are putting it?
Yeah, I'm putting it.
Children, can you just speak instead of chatting? It will be so nice to hear from you, because Dr. Sandhya is particularly very busy. She travels a lot every day, and she has to take care of her family, and she's very busy professionally also. In spite of all that, just in 1 or 2 days notice, she just came and spoke to us. So
Yes,
much of
I
passion.
think for the whole team here, I would have loved to do this in person, but thanks to COVID, it didn't make it possible. I love interacting with people, and when she asked me without a second thought, I said, yes, let's do it. I didn't agree on the date initially. I said, let me look at my, whatever work schedule, but I wanted to do it. At least that much I was sure. And I thank all of you, such nice comments coming in. If I've just built in a little bit of confidence in you guys, it's amazing. I think you just go into it. It's all your self belief. I'm only just a tool in trying to open up these possibilities for you people.
And it will be much more nice to hear you speak those, instead of typing in. Of course, typing is also good, but if you can just speak them out, it will make more sense to us.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please.
I feel more confident now, doctor. Thank you very much.
Most welcome, Deepesh. I am really happy that you asked that particular question because, like I said, right, my own personal experience. I love creative pursuits. I love drawing. I love music. I have found a way to build it into my career right now. I do. I did excellent in now the schematics that I draw to explain to people, right? Somewhere my skills are not lost, they are coming into picture. You will find a way to build it in. Just believe in that, and then don't give up your passion ever. It is something that will sustain you in your lowest of times. Yes,
Anjali, what do you want to say?
I just wanted to thank ma'am, because when we talk about science, it's been limited to doctor, or otherwise if you like math you're an engineer, otherwise you're a doctor. And thank you, because now I am aware that there are so many
options. Yes.
for us. Thank you.
Most welcome, Apurva. Most welcome.
Apurva?
Yes, ma'am.
Apurva just spoke, or was it Anjali?
No, Anjali spoke.
Anjali spoke. Thank you, Anjali. Yeah. Apurva.
So before this, I thought that I would take MPC because I like maths. I like biology as well, but after this, I understood that M by PC is also there, and I can take that as well. So I'm going to take M by PC, and I'll become an engineer. So thanks for that.
Wonderful, Apurva. I'm happy that you could make that choice. It's a little bit hard work, but don't let it bother you. You may not, whichever subject you don't like, you'll realize by 12th what you want to drop off and where you want to take it. And it's okay. Marks don't matter. Percentage doesn't matter. You'll make an excellent engineer or scientist, whatever you want to be.
Yeah, Tamanna, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. So basically, this was a much needed session because I had many doubts regarding, I was clear that I have to take M by PC, but really not clear how to go about, because it's a lot of work, and without a coaching or without a guidance, it's a bit difficult to cope up. So there were some minor doubts which were solved over here, and I'm like a bit in a better position to make a decision, like including my parents.
Nice to hear, Tamanna. Like I said, there is some amount of hard work, but take it that you're investing the next 2 years of your life into making something that you're really passionate about. Take it like that. Don't take it hard and fast that I have to score this much. It's good to have a personal goal, but don't let it become the only goal for you, right? So have that and keep your options, plan A, plan B, plan C. Go about it in a very structured way. I want to study this in this bracket of time. Once you work out your timetable, I'm sure there is no stopping you. Little bit of hard work, but yes. And there are other option that I wanted to tell whoever asked. Coaching doesn't mean you have to take it long term, intensive, 11th, 12th. You can go for personalized tutoring, you can go for dummies course and still take a short-term course towards the end of your 12th. It will help you get into that rigor to attack the competitive exams. Don't think that you have to take it all time, because coping, like you said, coping with your 11th 12th regular syllabus and going for coaching, it can be very intensive. So you can choose to study and then go for a short term just to get acquainted with that time management, solving papers, everything. So that option is also there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Tamanna is partly a reason why we have this session.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're having an extensive question and answer session in our class once, and I know I at one point realized that we need an expert and requested you.
Yeah,
Happy to help anytime. You can write to me also. I posted my email address to everyone here. I will get back to you definitely. And if it is quicker, we might even get onto a phone call. No worries.
Yes. Sure, ma'am.
Sure.
I would just like to say, Dr. Sandhya, it's so heartening to have somebody come out and, so reassuringly tell the children that, come to us with all your doubts and clarifications and give them that perspective.
No, I think it's important,
Very nice.
Anita. My personal choice in taking up this immediately was that lot of confusion at that stage, at 9th, 10th. You're so anxious. You have to choose a career path, but you're still so confused, right? You don't know what are the options. Just somebody to tell you, like, the call is fine. These are the options available. That is very essential at this stage. So if I could help in any little way, I'm more than happy to do that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Really it helped, and hearing it from somebody who's working in industry really matters. And to children, if you are thinking what is the end result of hard work, I think you can see the result personified in Dr. Sandhya. She has done postdoc, and there's so much of hard work she has put in all her years throughout, and what we are seeing is that knowledge and that passion and the work that has come out of it. Ultimately it is how to make this world a better place, and I think no one better than Dr. Sandhya to say that. Very proud of you,
No,
Sandhya.
enough of so many words. Thank you, Chitra. We had an awesome time. Chitra is a wonderful scientist herself, now a wonderful teacher, I would say. And just being part of this session itself is a matter of pride for me. I just love interacting. All I can say is, at the basic level, if you see, just close your eyes. When I was talking about this mind-body discipline, that's the other, just two key takeaways in today's talk. Believe in yourself. Write down at every stage what you want to. That clarity helps children. I cannot emphasize that enough. And develop that rhythm. No matter where you go in life, whatever you do, that mind body rhythm that you develop now, that spending half an hour with yourself will help you tackle the worst of scenarios in your life. Because your mind will clearly tell you your heart is not in this. Don't take it up. No matter what someone pressurizes you, no, you will know to stand up for yourself. That is what has taken me through till today. That passion for science and knowing, yes, at some point I want to be part of it. The challenges may be innumerable. Taking care of home, family, problems, so many things will happen. And day in and day out, who doesn't suffer? But at the end of it, there's that passion inside you, deep within you, that you want to nurture, and that will carry you through all of this. So those two key takeaways, don't ever leave it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr.
Most welcome. Welcome.
You were. I appreciate your patience of answering all the questions. So you may be very busy, but still you were able to give us your precious time, and were able to clarify and reach the children. That is more important. And you were able to.
Thank you to this wonderful
you were able
audience.
to give them a path that you can go in this way. Thank you.
Most welcome, ma'am. It was my pleasure joining this session. I know I wanted to do it over a weekend, maybe where all of you were free, but somehow this last weekend was too busy for me. But like I said, I didn't want to push it too far also. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the session.
Okay, so very inspiring. Thank you so much. Yeah, and thanks to all children and teachers to attend this, and thanks Anita and Azim ma'am for making your students participate in it. So okay, have a good day, and children, anything that you want, please reach out to
Write to
Dr.
me.
Sandhya. Yeah, her mail
I'll
ID
write
is
to
here. Yeah, and yeah, just make the world a better place to live in.
Yes, the
I
world
think
is better because of you people. Young
all of
generation is
us.
like
Yeah.
all gay. Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, children. Thank you, teachers. Thank you, Chitra.
Have a good day. Bye bye.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.